This is from at MSU Hitman. With GameStop trashing the cases of cheap Xbox 360 and PS3 games, stores donating other cheap 360 games to charity, and pending new console generation, will become hard for collectors to get complete case manuals for 360, PS3, or Wii collections as it is for the DS.
Yes, or at least complete games. This is a practice that I really, really hate. This is one of the things that I really can't stand about GameStop. I tend to go easier on them, I guess, than other people, just because, at least the employees. But this is one that I can't stand. They started doing this with DS games, in particular, and it drove me nuts. They started when they were trying to phase out DS games and make space for 3DS games. They started taking cases, manuals, and art and literally just trashing them for the majority of the games. There were some games that they... I think they were told to keep cases for. I think it was mostly first-party Nintendo games. But eventually, even those, I believe they started trashing, and they just started packaging the game cartridges in little blister packs that they could easily hang on the little rack.
Sure.
To make space. The thing is, and it's not just me. I notice a lot of even like parents and whatnot, in our store, Luna, are very reluctant sometimes to buy their kids those DS games in those blister packs or without cases because they're so small and the kids lose them or break them or send them through the wash in their pocket.
Sure.
And stuff like that. So while it may make sense from a space saving standpoint, from these this big corporation, it's really not a smart idea. And then obviously there's the collector standpoint, you don't even have to be a collector, I don't think, to just want a game in a case necessarily.
Sure.
Big cardboard boxes, like the boxes that old games came in, NES games, Super Nintendo games, or the big cases that Genesis games came in are one thing, but DVD cases that, PlayStation 2 games came in, or the small, barely larger than a CD case, that 3DS and DS games, Vita games come in. These don't take up a lot of space. I really don't see those people want those to keep these smaller things, I think, organized in. And now doing it with, these disc-based games as they are, 360, PS3, I know almost no one who likes buying loose disc games. People don't like doing that.
Can you still source the cases for some of these? Like, can you source 360 cases?
You can, but it's the art and manual.
The art.
I mean, we're getting to the point where, like, on PS3 stuff and later 360 stuff, there were no manuals. But
sure.
Still, getting the actual art, because it never prints out as nice anyways. I mean, very rarely.
You got to spend money to do it professionally.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting to that point, but you still have to spend money to do it. And to get the official cases, it is getting harder to find those cases. The translucent green for the 360 with the actual logos inside, and the PS3 ones actually
sure there's not a warehouse somewhere they're sitting around?
They might be, but it doesn't matter. To take the time to complete it as opposed to just keep the fucking cases. If you really don't want them in your store, then don't carry them in your store. I mean, the amount of space they dedicate currently to PS3 or 360 anyways is like nothing.
Isn't that though still a drop in the bucket though versus the ones that are still in people's houses and that they have laying around that they still have? I mean, honestly,
what
in terms of like ones that are still complete that have like the cases still?
Yes, but it does affect things overall. They will
affects the market, sure.
They will do this for a long time. They did it for a long time with DS. They will still keep taking these 360 and PS3 games, I would imagine, for another year, and they will continue to do this. At this point, and it wasn't like this forever, when we were taking DS and 3DS games for quite some time, we were getting them in their cases. We had far more in cases than we did loose. And now if we get DS games in their cases, it's a cold day in hell. Almost everything comes in loose, and I do believe that is largely due to GameStop trashing everything, because while right now they're just starting to do it, like I said, as people continue to trade more and more of that in, you are going to see a considerable amount of that trashed.
I'm trying to see online if the white DS cases you can buy anywhere. You can buy clear ones. You can buy black ones. So
Sure.
you can probably source these at some point if you have to. But yeah, you said like the artwork is
It's
is
the
thing.
artwork in the
Yeah.
manual. It's not so much the case. It's everything else that's important. So
I don't know. Maybe there'll be. I mean, are we just worried about collectors in the future? I think you'll be able to find a complete copy no matter what. It's not going to be like Game Boy where you can't find boxes at all for some of these games. You know.
no, but it's still a pain in the ass. It makes it harder. As a person who collects DS stuff, finding complete DS games has become a much bigger problem.
Sure.
And I'm almost 100% positive that you can trace that right back to GameStop trashing all that shit.
So we take our pitchforks and torches the games. Well, they're going to be gone in a few years, so they won't be able to do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's what you get. That's your penance. It's just your punishment. Well, penance is you make up for something you did. There is no penance. The penance is you go back in all your dumpsters and you find all those DS cases from 10 years ago and you bring them back out, I guess. Are DS and 3DS cases the same?
No, DS cases are black. 3DS cases are
White.
and they have like they use less plastic. When you open up a 3DS case, it's got a bunch of like squares cut in it, so it looks like a waffle.
Okay, I wonder if people will care at a certain point as long as you have some case that fits, you know. Yeah, but again, it's the artwork. But maybe it'll be a different collector's market in 20 years where it'll be acceptable to reprint. You know, if you can't find them I'm trying to think how many DS collectors there'll be going for a complete set, 20 years from now. All right.